Welcome back to The Source. Our source today, Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega. Sir, thank you for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Good morning.
Maybe, sir, we can start first with an update on the road accident in Kuwait involving Filipinos. How many were injured, and can you tell us about what condition they're in right now?
Well, actually, as we had reported earlier, what happened was that there was a group of 50 to 60 Filipino bikers moving along the Arabian Gulf Road with an SUV sideswiped. No, they were coming from the fast lane, turned to the right, and just hit them. No, some were struck or some were sideswiped. So what happened was there were initially 11 of the cyclists who were brought to the hospital. 7 were immediately released after treatment. 2 took some time because they were first observed. However, there are still 2 remaining who need major treatment. One person with head trauma and another lady with fractured vertebrae. So, the embassy is checking by their condition. And they're at the state hospital, so the Kuwaiti authorities are the ones who are paying the expenses. So the embassy has given their statement expressing their appreciation for this. So our embassy lawyers are monitoring the case because the police are investigating it. No, it was a hit-and-run incident, but eventually the driver surrendered to the police.
All right. Okay. So the driver has already surrendered. Following your initial investigation and all the information you've gathered, what happens now to that driver?
According to the Kuwaiti Ministry of Interior, first there's a clear traffic misdemeanor, but they are checking all the evidence to see if a felony charge could be filed if it was an intentional act, because actually they got the statements of those who were already released from the hospital. No? Our embassy lawyers assisted them in going to the police to give their statements. So that's the case. They are the Kuwaitis are promising action in this, no? And it's good. There is an issue that we also wish to specify. It is not a hate crime against Filipinos. That's not what it looks like. What happened was that for some time, there have been concerns in Kuwait over the lack of bike lanes. And there have been accidents, where aggressive drivers have injured cyclists. So it is expected that this latest incident will result in more calls for clear bike lanes for cyclists.
Right. On the part of the Pinoy cyclists, will they be taking any formal legal action against the driver?
If certainly under Kuwaiti law, if charges are filed, then there will be a formal demand for damages, of course.
Pero at this time po, hindi pa sila nag-file ng any case?
Hindi pa po although I think they will. We're trusting they will. And I believe you might have an idea why they might.
All right. And regarding the medical expenses, did I hear you right? Did you say that the Kuwaiti government is shouldering expenses for those who were injured and hospitalized?
Yes, although the Philippine government, either the DFA through our embassy or the DMW through the local overseas workers office, can provide medical assistance, medical or financial assistance if required. We are already in touch. The attaché in Kuwait is already in touch with the relatives of the 2 who are still in the hospital.
All right, Yusek, do stay with us. We just need to take a very short break. This is A Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. Our source today, Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega. Sir, welcome back to the program. I want to talk about the deployment ban in Kuwait. President Marcos obviously has thumbs down the proposal for a total deployment ban to Kuwait as proposed by some lawmakers. Do you agree?
Well, of course, the president is the commander-in-chief. The original intent always was for us to suspend the deployment of household workers. We did not intend to ban all types of deployment to Kuwait. It is not a country, for example, which is under alert level 4 due to a war or other situation. No? Hopefully we will be able to resolve the current what shall we say, impasse or misunderstandings between both countries. Among friends, there are always some differences in opinion, some misunderstandings, and the key is to find a solution.
Right. On the part of the Kuwaiti government, the Kuwait Interior Ministry disclosed last week some of the reasons behind their visa suspension order. And among those were Philippine violations, including housing workers in shelters or searching for runaways without involving state institutions. What's your take on this, sir?
Yes, first. The searching for runaways, actually, they may have been referring to what the Philippine government was doing in 2018. You may remember when we were actually encouraging Filipinos to escape from their employers and even taping the operations. And we already apologized. Then Foreign Secretary Cayetano went to Kuwait, issued an apology, and we signed a labor agreement on deployment of household workers because of that. Right now, what the Kuwaitis are insisting on are a few things. One, a formal admission from the Philippine government that we violated their sovereignty, we violated their laws and the Vienna Convention and diplomatic relations. Number two, they would like us, of course, to apologize for those and to promise that such violations will not be repeated. And number three, they want us to hold or to promise to hold accountable our officials at the embassy for those violations. Now, the DFA and the Philippine government position, President Marcos' position, is that we cannot apologize for protecting our workers. We cannot hold our own people accountable for doing their job, which is to protect our overseas nationals. Now, it may be that in their zeal to protect our workers, after all, the Philippines is known as setting the gold standard for protection of its nationals in overseas workers. It could be that there were possibly some excesses, but in our mind, we cannot say that we're going to start filing cases against people simply because they they accept runaway workers, or they call employers directly in case there are complaints, or that they are very actively providing legal assistance and the rest to and such to our workers instead of just relying on the Kuwaiti government to do so.
So if you said we can't, if we're not planning to apologize for all those things that you mentioned, what is the next step?
Well, then among friends, of course, we can agree to disagree and then keep trying to find a middle ground. We already have indicated to them that our embassy would like to work closer with them so that we could ensure that any violations would not be repeated. So what's the next step? Two things. One, we wait until, just like in any relationship between friends, until cooler heads prevail. Mm-hmm. And we could again sit down and talk with them.
When do you think the next round of talks would be, Yusek?
It won't be in June. It won't be in June because of the summer month. we hope as early as July we could go back to talking.
All right.
By the way, there are possible steps. And I say, first, the Kuwaitis are doing the investigation in this police incident. And the Ranara case, the trial continues. So those are very positive steps, and we appreciate Kuwait for cooperating in the search for justice.
All right, and that is all we have time for, sir. But thank you so much for being here with us this morning. That was Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. You're watching CNN Philippines.